The boy never thought that a career determination actually attracted the blessing of the divine angel, which not only allowed him to transfer to the 3 God-level professions at will, but also attracted the coaxing of famous universities, and did not hesitate to open tens of millions of cultivation resources to pull him into school. But in the face of such lucrative conditions, the boy Zhou Yi chose to refuse. It turned out that this was a world where the game was fused with reality, which also led to the arrival of monster copies in the game. But everyone can also rely on upgrades to increase their own strength and compete with the monsters that come. And Zhou Yi traveled to this world 2.5 years ago. It's barely alive. For my sister's medical expenses, Zhou Yi sold the house. But even so, it's still a drop in the bucket. And when relatives hear about borrowing money, they will be like shoes. The only chance now, it is to be transformed into a combat class at the transfer ceremony. Then make a lot of money under the dungeon. Bring in a senior priest for my sister. Today is the annual transfer ceremony in Lijiang City. With the resignation of the principal, an order was given. The transfer of jobs has officially begun. Everyone is looking forward to turning into their dream career. And the demonstrator, level 24 mage, who presided over the transfer ceremony. It is also the object of Zhou Yi's envy. After all, the cost of hosting once. It's his income from 2 or 3 years of part-time work. The name that accompanies the name of the head teacher. The first hedgehog-headed student took the lead. The results were disappointing. All 3 of the options are life occupations. Soon it was Zhou Yi's turn after he came on the field. It's just that Zhou Yi, who entered the magic array and didn't move, aroused the curiosity of the 2 class teachers. As everyone knows, Zhou Yi wore the necklace he brought in his last life, is exuding inexplicable fluctuations. The next moment, a golden aura swept beside Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi couldn't help but rub his eyes. It turned out that the system absorbed the energy of the transfer ceremony. Successful awakening. And comes with a newbie gift package for Zhou Yi. It turned out to be the highest S-level divine angel guardian talent. It can double the effect of all of Zhou Yi's light and divine skills. However, Zhou Yi has not awakened his profession for a long time. It also aroused the doubts of everyone present below. But at this moment, a golden light soared into the sky. The entire Skyrim is rendered golden. The headmaster and mage couldn't help but exclaim. This turned out to be a job change fantasy. Immediately after, a figure slowly appeared in the pillar of light. He came to Zhou Yi's face. Everyone's eyes widened. It's just that it was a holy angel who came. The angel opened his arms to Zhou Yi. May the light always be willing to do all evil. Meltish, the angel turned into a golden light, poured into Zhou Yi's eyebrows. A cross of light was formed on Zhou Yi's forehead. The next second, dazzling divine power erupted in Zhou Yi's body. 3 God-level classes were formed in the sky above. This scene looked at the people below. There are also students who don't understand and asked their homeroom teacher, "What are these 3 signs?" The head teacher's eyes solemnly indicated that it was a hidden profession. Light mage, holy priest, and paladin. And Zhou Yi looked at the 3 hidden professions and fell into choice thinking. The light mage does not have many life-saving skills that output explosive bombs. There are many life-saving skills for priests, and there are also anti-heaven skills for resurrection. But the combat ability is not good, despite the fact that the last paladins are in full swing, although it can be resisted. The effect of the divine talent obtained by Zhou Yi can be doubled. Completes the mediocrity in damage. So Zhou Yi thought twice. In the end, the paladin class was chosen. At the moment when Zhou Yi changed jobs, 3 pairs of light wings spread out behind Zhou Yi. The handsome armor of platinum color was worn on Zhou Yi's body, and obtained 3 exclusive skills for the paladin. Assigned properties with 10 o'clock bits. And Zhou Yi, who has completed the transfer, has also been favored by everyone. He was invited to form a team to report on the college entrance examination. At this time, Zhou Yi's head teacher opened the crowd several times. Tell Zhou Yi with sparkling eyes, "Let's go home and rest first, and I'll go to the principal's office tomorrow." And Zhou Yi, who returned home, start assigning the attributes he gets. 2/3 of the stat points are added to strength. The other gets the remaining third. As a result, the paladin's quest was activated. Zhou Yi looked at the rewards on the exclusive task. I chose to accept it without hesitation. The system began to pass on the trial of Zhou Yi. Wait for Zhou Yi to open his eyes again. Then they came to a strange cave. When Zhou Yi looked around, a demonic beast struck towards Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi immediately took a step back and jumped away to dodge. He looked at the beast and was not ready to use the skill. Rather, I planned to test my physical fitness. After many attempts, the monster was thirsty for weak speed in his eyes. Zhou Yi can easily dodge. Unexpectedly, the next second, the monster insidiously attacked Zhou Yi with his tail. This is something that Zhou Yi did not expect. I was pierced through the stomach by that tail, and this also taught Zhou Yi a lesson. No matter what time you want, you can't be careless. Zhou Yi unleashes an exclusive healing recovery skill. After quickly recovering from his injuries, a cross light appeared in Zhou Yi's hand. Then, with a wave of the arms crossed, the crosses raised unfurled towards the beast. This is one of the paladin's exclusive skills, the pure white blade. When an enemy is attacked by a light element, they will enter a stiff crash. In the next second, Zhou Yi's footsteps collapsed. Unleash the Tiger Strike skill, able to grab an enemy in front of you and run forward for a distance before throwing away. Can be used against enemies that you hit while running. Deals multi-stage attack damage. The monster was embedded in the wall by Zhou Yi. The last punch crawled towards the monster. As the breath of life of the monster disappears, Zhou Yi completed the task and received a first-level score. Ability to choose between two rewards given by the system. Zhou Yi is currently not short of skills, and he can't afford to buy equipment. In order to cope with the next college entrance examination, he chose 10 attribute points and the paladin's equipment. After the trial, Zhou Yi returned home. At the same time, in the ward of a hospital, a head nurse came up to the girl. Instead of telling the girl that it's time to pay the medical bills, the girl looked at the bill of 10,000, caught in a state of overwhelm. Didn't you just need 5,000 before? My brother worked 3 part-time jobs to earn this amount. The head nurse sneered. You've had a sudden illness this month. Outside, the priest pleased. It's also a cause for the whole nurse to be busy taking care of you in the middle of the night. Do you think there shouldn't be so many? Just as the head nurse continued to blame the girl, a man pressed a large hand on his shoulder, questioned him in a cold voice. How can a nurse be so scathing, still insulting the hospital? I don't know after telling the dean. Can you still tell? And the head nurse felt that it was not good to put people in front of him. It was also at the same time as turning around and leaving. A final notice was given to the girl. Medical bills must be paid today, and the girl is looking in front of her. The man asks who she is. The man handed the girl a business card and told her she was a friend of her brother. Wait for Zhou Yi to come to the hospital. She was about to ask her sister, how can there be an extra 100,000 yuan in the hospital account? Found that her sister Zhou Yun had 2 more strangers next to her. The man in charge immediately introduced himself as the mayor's secretary. I want to talk to Zhou Yi about something. Zhou Yi was very surprised in his heart. The mayor is a giant. Although I don't know what this kind of big man is looking for him. Zhou Yi also asked the mayor's secretary to speak in a different place. In fact, the mayor's purpose for finding Zhou Yi, it is to give Zhou Yi a batch of resources for cultivation. His hidden career mayor is very optimistic. It is very likely to become a huge game. Zhou Yi knows that there is no such thing as a free lunch. It's an investment, and he hopes to get a return one day in the future. However, wait until the secretary says. Medical services can be arranged 24 hours a day for his sister, and you can contact a second-turn 36-level priest treating his sister. Speaking of this week, there is nothing to hesitate about. Also told his sister Zhou Yun about this result. Zhou Yun's eyes lit up when he heard this. Admired his brother Zhou Yi even more. It actually attracted the mayor's investment, and Zhou Yi thought of his unique skill to heal slowly. So he experimented with his sister. Suddenly, a flash of golden light enveloped Zhou Yun. It made Zhou Yun feel more comfortable than ever. Zhou also saw his sister's appearance. I knew that I didn't choose the wrong career, although it could not cure his sister. But it's also good to be able to relieve the pain. The time came to the next day. The principal said to him, while taking Zhou Yi with him, in his previous life, for famous schools across the country recruited him. They are Rongyang University, Sichuan South University, Anji University, and Seoul University. However, Zhou Yi asked the president rhetorically if there are no 3 top universities. The president said the 3 top universities. Only the results of the college entrance examination shall prevail. Don't look at talent and career. Therefore, no special recruitment will be arranged. After a while, Zhou Yi came to the admissions office. Faculty members from the 4 universities glanced at Zhou Yi, discovered that he has awakened even a hidden profession, is neither humble nor arrogant, and is not crazy because of this. The first impression of Zhou Yi is very good. Rongyang University took the lead in giving conditions. Just go to their school. Zhou Yi can get 2 million and 3 night-only skill books. Didn't wait for Zhou Yi to be surprised. South Sichuan University laughed, said that Zhou Yi entered his school. In addition to giving 3 million and 3 skill books, there are also level 56 knights who teach in person. The headmaster was amazed. You must know that level 56 is already standing at the peak of men. But this is the beautiful teacher of Seoul University who shook her head slightly. He directly opened a B-level cultivation resource box worth tens of millions. The headmaster hears this. I couldn't wait to get Zhou Yi to agree. B-level contracts are no longer measurable in monetary terms. However, Zhou Yi gave up this special move, bluntly said that he wanted to be admitted to the 3 top universities. Among the top 10 schools, top 3 ranked Suzhou and Hangzhou universities, Kaijin University and Modo University. The status is the most transcendent. It is also known as the top 3 universities in the country. They admit only 1,000 new students each year, and the enrollment quota is not limited to humans. Elven giants and other groups can also be admitted. So, I want to be admitted to the top 3 universities. It's hard to beat. Because of this, it was ridiculed by the admissions teachers of Rongyang University and used his own strength to oppress Zhou Yi. Although Zhou Yi awakened the hidden profession, but the foundation of the first 18 years of Zhou Yi, the deficit attribute is low. He thinks Zhou Yi is whimsical. Even if you can enter, it is the presence of the crane tail. And what good resources can be cultivated? The principal stood in front of Zhou Yi at this time, questioned the teacher of Rongyang University. Want to bully his students on his turf? However, the beautiful teacher of Seoul, it was found that Zhou Yi survived the 3 series under coercion. I feel more and more that Zhou Yi is extraordinary. So when the teachers of the 3 famous schools left without looking back, only he chose to stay. Tell Zhou Yi if he is not admitted. Seoul University is always open for him. And Zhou Yi insisted on his choice. There is still a month to go before the college entrance examination. There is still room for improvement in his strength. The beautiful teacher appreciates this very much, looking forward to Zhou Yi's performance in the college entrance examination. Fast forward to a month later, when Zhou Yi arrives. It attracted everyone's attention because of the aura emanating from Zhou Yi's body, a delusion that frightened them. The college entrance examination began in a short time. The crowd's exam question is a copy of a grade 10 to 13. Groups of 1 to 5 people are allowed. The difficulty levels are normal and nightmare, but this copy made everyone sweat a little and doubled. It's just because the monster cat in this dungeon has a quick waist and hands. The Minotaur is even thicker in skin and meat. How do they fight? However, with the arrival of the assessment time, candidates are all passed into the copy, and most people choose the difficulty. This is true even if you form a team, but when Zhou Yi was the only choice, it was a nightmare. When the water came into everyone's sight, it caused the surprise of everyone outside the venue. The mortality rate of nightmares alone can be as high as 40%. The director of the Education Bureau was very dissatisfied. In case of a fall, it is a loss for them to leave Xinjiang City. But until now, I can only choose to believe in Zhou Yi. At this time, inside the copy, a cat's waist struck at Zhou Yi, and Zhou Yi took out his weapon, the Bronze Mansion, directly split the cat's waist in half. Within the month, although the Zhou Yi level is only 10, but he has put the values of the various attributes. The average is 47 points. This is the equivalent of a perfect level 13 attribute. Next, Zhou Yi unleashed the blessing of exclusive skill weapons and the blessing of divine talents. Began his massacre. These cat demons are not his righteous enemies at all. The pure white blade is upgraded to level 5. These cat demons in my heart are even faster. I saw a burst of adoration from the junior students outside the field. There are also homeroom teachers from other classes. The head teacher of the extremely thoughtful Why Zhou Yi is not in his class. At this time, the cat demon in the dungeon plotted violently. Hundreds of cat demons attacked Zhou Yi. However, in the past month, Zhou Yi's baptism of fighting consciousness has been carried out. A sea change has already taken place. The articulation of several skills is flawless. None of the cat demons can get close. More than 100 cat demons all fell under Zhou Yi's abdomen. The next moment, the entrance to the next light card appeared in front of Zhou Yi, and outside Zhou Yi first level nightmare mode. It only took 3 minutes and 17 seconds to clear the level. It also caused an uproar. As for Zhou Yi, who came to the second level, it is to face the warrior bullhead crown of up to level 14, a 12-level cat demon who is good at healing, and a level 13 flame cat demon who is good at spells. This is a classic combination of Warwood, with a level 14 Minotaur roar. As a warrior, the Minotaur went towards Zhou Yi to kill, and the Mage Yin Cat Demon cast a spell on the spot, while shackling Zhou Yi in place, while casting fireballs to cooperate with the Minotaur. But this scene is in Zhou Yi's eyes, but it didn't make him panic in the slightest. His hands slowly clasped together. A miniature version of the cross appeared in Zhou Yi's hand, accompanied by Zhou Yi's soft congratulations to the Holy Light Cross. An incomparably huge cross descended from the heavens, smashed directly on these cat demon minotaurs. The Holy Light instantly devoured these cat demons. Wait for the smoke to clear. No matter what, the cat demon lost all his life. The director of the Education Bureau recognized that Zhou Yi was using a B-level group attack skill. I was surprised how Zhou Yi got it. And inside the copy, the only surviving minotaur at the Cross of Light was the level 14 Minotaur. In the face of Zhou Yi's contempt, the Minotaur immediately unleashed the skill Berserk and the Overlord. Immediately after that, a war trampled towards Zhou Yi. Seeing Zhou Yi dodge, Minotaurs use Savage Charge from a month onwards. However, Zhou Yi was under the command of the axe. It can be used with both air slashes and then used. It's just to knock the Minotaur out of the air. Zhou Yi was connected to the pure white blade. Deals damage while immobilizing the Minotaur in place. Zhou Yi came to him in an instant. The axe slashes the Minotaur at the waist. Seeing that the Minotaur was staring at himself, he was not dead. Zhou Yi lifted his foot, stomped on the Minotaur's mouth, and Zhou Yi was under a series of offensives, and that less than a minute of clearance, but it made everyone outside look good. The director also congratulated the principal on coming out with a unicorn. The principal's smile never stopped. Since the establishment of the school, their school has taken the highest exam. It is only 721st in the province. Monday can definitely lead the school towards unprecedented heights. However, there was no break on Monday. Enter the final boss level. It attracted the exclamation of the crowd. If you fail the challenge, you lose a lot. But the principal understood, because I want to impact the provincial strongman. Top 100 gifted students will choose nightmare mode, so the same difficulty. I want to be a strong son. That is the shortest use of knowledge. The boy didn't expect that. Not only did he awaken a god-level profession, he also received the blessing of the divine red angel. But because I have to be admitted to the 3 top universities, it provoked ridicule from teachers from other prestigious universities. But now he has achieved the shortest clearance time in history in the college entrance examination. His alma mater made him a lifelong honor. Just now, Zhou Yi came to the last level of the nightmare copy of the college entrance examination. He was facing the king of the Minotaur monster race, and the level is as high as level 16, and there is also a gold qualification. Zhou Yi didn't dare to underestimate it. Dawn blesses courage, bestows the gift of God, and guards the gift. Forms a paladin attack form with full buff blessings. The next moment, Zhou Yi jumped high, holding a strengthened bronze axe. The axe slashed towards the Minotaur, but he was uncovered by the bull-headed king empty-handed. Zhou Yi was slightly surprised. The blessing of 4 amplification skills. They couldn't even break the body of the bull-headed king. At this time, it was the Minotaur King's counterattack. Raised his weapon, the hammer, slammed it down on Zhou Yi, and Zhou Yi dodged as early as the moment he fell. But unexpectedly, the perception of the Minotaur is not. A hammer slammed into Zhou Yi's body. It's powerful, smashed through several pillars of the Minotaur Palace. However, it is guarded by knight's armor, neutralizes most of the damage. At this time, Zhou Yi drew a cross of light in front of him. Jumpsuits suddenly flooded the void. The golden spear of the reverse cake slowly appeared. This is Zhou Yi's skill victory spear. Throw spears condensed with divine power at enemies. Enemies that are stabbed will take great damage. Look at the bull-headed king wielding the majesty of the tiger. Zhou Yi understands that as long as it continues, the Minotaur must not be able to stop it. But flying a kite, and stretching the line consumes the Bull King. Then the provincial champion has absolutely nothing to do with him. However, Zhou Yi fought many times. The weakness of the Minotaur has been pierced. In addition to not being very agile, the Minotaur does not have high attribute resistance, despite having high durability and health, but when attacked, more susceptible to severe negative effects and damage. Therefore, Zhou Yi only needs to quickly release the attack from multiple angles. Defeating the Minotaur is easy. During this period, Zhou Yi only needed to control his blue volume. At this time, Zhou Yi saw that the bull-headed king couldn't parry. I want to unleash my final ultimate. Zhou Yi didn't destroy him. Pull out the knight's scissors he had just acquired. Fiercely slash blood from the Minotaur from him. The next second, the college entrance examination system congratulates Zhou Yi for clearing the nightmare level copy. The clearance time is only 9 minutes and 24 seconds. It is rated as the top SSS class, and it is the first place in the record of this dungeon. In other words, he is undoubtedly the champion of the college entrance examination this time. Traveled for 2 years. The death of the parents of the sister is seriously ill, and the high amount of outreach nearly shattered him. But during this period, Zhou Yi did not give up. Cannot improve stat quality. He exercised his sense of battle, the emergence of the system, a turning point for his second life. But fate remained in his hands. He also had to work harder. At the same time, the quest began to settle. Zhou Yi's level has been increased to level 13 and received 2 pieces of equipment. They are belts and rings, and the Minotaur's enchantment material. And waiting for the moment when Zhou Yi came out of the examination room, the audience cheered for Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi's strength made them confident. At this time, the principal and the director of the Education Bureau walked towards Zhou Yi. They congratulated Zhou Yi Wei. The headmaster even said that it would take less than 10 minutes to clear the nightmare dungeon. Zhou Yi is the glory of his 100 years of schooling. At this time, a value-worthy sports car stopped in front of Zhou Yi. This is a special car arranged by the director to pick up Zhou Yi and inform Zhou Yi that the results would be released within 3 days at the earliest. And Zhou Yi went to the hospital. After the last talk of the mayor's secretary, it was also quick to deliver on its promises. His sister was placed in the best hospital. There is a professional team to take care of you 24 hours a day. It's just that Zhou Yi came to the floor where his sister was. Unexpectedly, the entire floor was frozen in ice. Zhou Yi immediately realized that something was wrong. Rushed towards his sister Zhou Yun's room, and the nurse who led him. Just about to chase Zhou, he was also frozen. Wait for Zhou Yi to break open the door of the ward. He found an ice dragon staring at him coldly, and below him is his sister Zhou Yun and the priest who healed him. Zhou Yijing wanted to solve the ice gold dragon. The beautiful pastor hurriedly shouted Zhou Yi's assistant. The power in Zhou Yi's hands dissipated. Puzzled, he walked towards a priest. It turned out that Zhou Yunhan's cold disease suddenly broke out. Turn everyone into soldiers. This dragon of soldier spirit is also the manifestation of Zhou Yun's illness. If it hurts him, it is very likely to shatter Zhou Yun's heart. And now the beautiful priest can only take the cold, suppressed in this building. He's not a senior pastor, and it can only go so far. Seeing this, Zhou Yi called out the system panel. Add all skill points to slow healing. Then activate this skill. Cast it on his sister. The beautiful pastor was amazed to see it. Because of the healing power in it, are all over him a level 23 priest. As for Monday, it was also for the beautiful pastor to go to the mayor's secretary. Bring in a senior pastor. In fact, the secretary had already negotiated. It's just that the senior pastor is too busy. So it's about next week. In this regard, Monday also said that as long as you can please, anytime in the future. He unconditionally promised to help with one thing on Monday. After the beautiful priest left, launched on Monday, began to suppress the chill in his sister's body. He didn't expect his sister to be cold. It's so serious that it can affect the outside world. Time passed minute by minute, and soon night came. At this time, Zhou Yi had been eroded by the cold, but he didn't give up. Suddenly, a green bead struck, hit the ice dragon on the head, and then it didn't go away. Instead, they jumped on the ice dragon one after another. It also made Zhou Yun more and more painful. Joeben wanted to stop it, but he was also knocked out by the green beads. I saw a girl dressed as a priest, shaved at the ice dragon. The ice dragon opened its bloody jaws and lunged at the priest, but he was knocked away by a priest's staff. Then a series of runes appeared around the priest. The priest snorted. The runes began to wrap around the ice dragon's body. A magic circle could be seen in the priest's eyes, and the priest holds the staff, knocked down on the magic array that had formed on the ice dragon. The next second, the ice dragon turned into a cloud of cold air, returned to Zhou Yun's body. The priest, on the other hand, taps the ground lightly with his staff. Under the concussion of the magic, the ice in the room began to melt in an instant. Then the pastor turned to Zhou Yi to introduce himself. I'm Guilian. Qin Yun is a level 35 second turn priest. Actually, if it weren't for the secretary, Zhou Yi is very likely to be in any state. There was simply no way he could come, and Zhou Yi solemnly thanked him. Asked if his sister's illness can be cured. Pastor Choi said that the cold air condensed unconsciously. This is a sign of the awakening of the bloodline. Zhou Yi was surprised to hear this. This is the result of the birth of the game's convergence with reality. Those elves, giants, and other aliens came to the real world. Quite a few intermarried with humans. After 200 years of evolution, it has been diluted from generation to generation. The characteristics and abilities of the alien race are gradually disappearing. However, when there is an anti-ancestor, it is the awakening of the bloodline. And once awakened, he successfully mastered the power of the alien race. And I want to change my constitution. Pastor Choi knew about a genius Earth treasure called the Extreme Cold Ice Alliance. But this thing has a price. The last time it was seen was 30 years ago. It was auctioned by a mysterious person for 1.3 billion. Pastor Choi told Zhou Yi before leaving. His sister still has 3 months to go. The cold will not be suppressed. There is only one other way to do it. Seal the bloodline. And the price made it impossible for his sister to become a professional. The boy didn't expect to get a top score. Not only did it make headlines and cause an uproar, even the famous school teacher who once mocked him were all expelled overnight. There are even 3 top university teachers competing for the award. In the big fight, not so long ago, Zhou Yi finished arranging his sister. He is exercising to complete the daily tasks of the system. The system detects that Zhou Yida has saved the situation. Huge rewards were handed out. There are 3 top prizes. They are S-Class Skill Hand of God, S-Class Reincarnation Ink, S-Class One-Time God-Level Secretary, and so on, and some other skill attribute point rewards. Meanwhile, whether it's on the official news channel or in online newspapers, even the hottest headlines, Zhou Yi won the popularity of the provincial champion. They all deserve to be the first. Lijiang City officials regard Zhou Yi as glory, and no matter where, the discussion of Zhou Yi has reached its peak. After all, paladins are a more supportive profession. I never imagined that I could brush the nightmare dungeon alone, but in a luxury villa somewhere. A man with fiery red hair looked at Zhou Yi, showing extreme dissatisfaction. Thinks that Zhou Yi has robbed him of the glory that belongs to him. I already hated Zhou Yi in my heart. Zhou Yi, who was exercising at this time, received 2 remittance text messages. The 7 million is Lijiang City's reward for Zhou Yi to win the provincial champion. There is also a choice of villas. The secretary called to inquire about Zhou Yi, whether he chooses it himself or the city chooses it for him. Next, the secretary told Zhou Yi, the 3 top universities are coming. Need to pick him up at school. However, Zhou Yi signaled no, because the admissions teachers of the top universities have arrived. As for the middle-aged man in front of him, no. He came to apologize to Zhou Yi on behalf of Rongyang University. The Rongyang University teacher who mocked him at the beginning. I've been fired from them. Of course, there is also the heart to attract Zhou Yi, willing to give 4 million. But that's not the end of the story. Was interrupted by the teacher of Moda University. No matter what conditions Rongyang University pays, he will give double the resources of the Magic Capital University. But this is a pink-haired woman, suddenly came to the side of Monday. Holding Monday, instantly soared into the air. She is an admissions teacher at Kaijin University. Tell her in my ear on Monday. Just come to their school. Every year, a contract worth more than 100 million is given. However, a magic array intercepted the teacher at Kaijin University. A black-haired jade sister appeared on their bodies. She is an admissions teacher at Swang University. It's not okay. to coldly signal to the kidnappers. The male teacher from Modi University followed. Condition to Zhou excludes A-rated contracts. It can also provide a set of gold equipment every year. And the teacher of Suwon University said, in the past 4 years, the exchange competition has been the first in Suzhou Aviation University. And Su Airlines believes in strength as the root. As long as you enter the Earth list and the Sky list, not to mention level resources, even S-level resources. Zhou. You can get it. Several people quarreled with each other for Zhou. How can you have the demeanor of a top university teacher? Zhou thinks about the 3 top schools. The treatment given is not much worse, and Zhou himself wants to quickly increase his actual combat experience. Therefore, Zhou chose to divide the battle into a strong Su-hang. In this regard, the black-haired teacher Yujia immediately took out a special box. Zhou can sign it after reading it. However, the teachers at Kaijin University did not give up. Tell Zhou loudly that he is not used to it. You can transfer to them to Kyoto University. This made teacher Su die in anger. As for Zhou, after reading the contract given, sign his name, the contract is finalized. And Mr. Su gave Zhou a week off. A week later, he was picked up at school. Why do you go this way? It is because the special enrollment received high-standard training earlier. Strength can be improved quickly. Soon after, Zhou took his sister to the villa that was given to him by the city. This luxury villa is up to 1,000 square meters in size. And Zhou asked the secretary when he was leaving, although his sister is cared for by a diligent pastor. But I still hope that he will go to college. Take care of his sister. Naturally, the secretary would not refuse. A week passed quickly. Zhou who was leaving, to his sister Zhou Yun. That's 1,000 instructions. At this time, teacher Su asked Zhou to prepare. The next moment, a teleportation magic array appeared in front of them. The car he was in rushed straight into it. And this is also the cooperation between the Soviet Aviation University and the military region. Only have a treatment. After all, the large teleportation arrays are in the hands of the army. Not much. The antique, luxurious, and elegant Suwon University came into view of Zhou. At this time, there are already quite a few new students arriving. Teacher Su personally took Zhou to report. Suddenly, a figure flew past Zhou. This is a person who was knocked flying. Kicked off, to be exact. The one who did it was a white-haired girl with a delicate face. His eyes shone with coldness. I said I didn't want to know each other. After the words fell, he turned around and walked away. And the person who kicked the fly was called Zhengxiao by the old students. Every year, I talked to the new students. Only this time it was kicked to the iron plate. But Zhou recognized it. The white-haired girl has magic patterns in her eyes. Indicates that he has demon blood. Teacher Su told Zhou, students and teachers in a university town, many of them have a family of blood on them. Don't look at it the same way. Zhou gestured for understanding. Immediately afterwards, Mr. Su handed over the student card to Zhou and explained several systems of the school for Zhou. The first is that each grade has a ranking. The higher the strength, the higher the ranking. And Zhou sequence is 001. It represents the strongest freshman in this year. But this ranking is temporary. The ranking of new students will be opened in 1 month. Rearrange according to large strokes. Mondays will also be a place of attention. Wenyin's Monday self-confidence first is always his. And then the credit system. It is used to buy all the cultivation resources. As long as the credits are enough. S-rank skills can be bought. There are 2 ways to earn credits. One is to do the task. The other is the ranking points of the Earth list and the Sky list. And Su Airlines has a total of 3 secret realm dungeons. Goblin dungeons at levels 17 to 21 respectively. Twisted jungle at levels 23 to 26. And infernal dungeons at levels 28 to 31. These are all credits that are required to enter before reaching the level. You can also hone your combat awareness with battle robots in the training ground. In the Soviet Airlines, the strong have the absolute right to speak. Maximum resource cleanliness. After listening, Zhou liked it more and more. But then they met a pair of freshmen. For Zhou Yining, there's a teacher to lead. To the curiosity of these freshmen. After all, they're all led by seniors. Some people even think that Zhou is a relationship. The senior smiled and explained that it was not. Number 1 in previous years. There will be a dedicated teacher in charge. When the words fell, all the freshmen reacted in surprise and opened their mouths. It turned out that she was the first freshman of this year, 13th level Paladin Joey. The boy never thought that he had just entered school, was asked for contact information by Hyohwa. Even makes Hyohwa feel that she is the most special. It turned out that Xiaohua learned that Zhou-Yi was the provincial champion and ranked first among all freshmen in strength. Xiaohua looked at Zhou-Yi with her eyes, and curiosity flashed in her heart. But she didn't know that it attracted the jealousy of the admirers around her. The red-haired man can't accept the goddess in his heart, attracted to other boys, so I can't stand her, and I want to show it. Took the initiative to provoke Zhou-Yi. Believes that Zhou-Yi's strength lives up to its name. His 13th level punishment knight challenged Zhou-Yi. The senior who led the team wanted to stop it. After all, leading new students to take credits. I don't want to give birth to a law that doesn't cause trouble and deduct credits. However, the redhead man is already on the top. Ignore the seniors. The other freshmen also saw the redhead's purpose. This is to step on Zhou-Yi's upper position. And Zhou-Yi asked him rhetorically why he accepted the challenge. In fact, Zhou-Yi also has the idea of killing chickens and making an example of monkeys. Let others fight his idea less. It doesn't mean that Zhou-Yi will print the challenge casually. He asked the red-haired man to pay 300 credits and agreed. It is important to know that the red-haired man is ranked at 40. The credits are only 400. If you lose, it will be miserable. The redhead man is also well aware of this result. But he shouldn't fight. He doesn't tell jokes. What will he think of him? Even in his heart, he couldn't lift his head, seeing that Zhou-Yi was about to turn around and leave. The red-haired man who rode the tiger south immediately agreed. The corners of Zhou-Yi's mouth rose. Tell the redhead man that he didn't kneel within 3 moves. Then even if he wins, as teacher Su stepped forward to preside, it began. The red-haired man rushed towards Zhou-Yi instantly. He had a plan in mind. Knight of Punishment and Paladin are both hidden classes, and the Punishment Knight forcibly produces violence. As long as Zhou-Yi doesn't have to be hegemonic, he must be the one who wins. The schoolgirl will definitely look at him differently when the time comes. He was full of confidence and slashed towards Zhou-Yi with a sword. However, he was destined to be a clown. Zhou-Yi dodged the red-haired man's muscles. Then he kicked the redhead man in the stomach. In an instant, the red-haired man flew out. It slammed into the wall with a thud. By the time the smoke cleared, he was unconscious. Zhou-Yi looked bored. He couldn't even quit a move. The senior stepped forward to take a look. Come back and report back to Mr. Su. Broken ribs, 5 internal organs bleeding to coma. Teacher Su listened to the bland and asked people to bring it to the pastor for quality. And the 300 credits were also transferred to the Zhou-Yi student card. Xiaohua secretly exclaimed in her heart. The difference between the strength attribute points of the two is at least 20 points. So Hyohwa took a big, long distance, stepped forward and stopped Zhou-Yi. Under Zhou-Yi's puzzled eyes, asked for a fight with him. Zhou-Yi looked happy because he saw the inheritance equipment behind Hyohwa. It was the first time he had seen his precious equipment. I can't help but want to try the power. The next moment, he took out the system reward gold equipment hanging light war. And this scene also attracted the ideas of other senior students. However, because it is a new student, they feel that they are the masters of each other. As the fight begins, Hyohwa immediately launched the skill extreme camp slash, rushing towards Zhou-Yi at lightning speed. Zhou-Yi did not show weakness and used the skill storm strike to respond to Hyohwa. The two sides collided together. When they are separated, they can't help each other. Hyoka then attached her dark attribute magic to her sword, allows him to unleash powerful dark slashes. And the more Zhou-Yi played, the more excited he became. Finally, someone could fight with him head-on. The two sides collided again at once. In just a dozen seconds, the two are skillfully connected. It's dazzling to watch how fierce they are fighting. Also slap those seniors in the face. Whereas this rookie Hujua. However, there are also strong seniors who can see it. The schoolgirl is going to lose, and it is, from the beginning, the two could still fight back and forth. I don't know when it started. The school flower is trying her best to block Zhou-Yi's sledgehammer. And Zhou-Yi treated the big beauty mercilessly. The next second, 5 buffs instantly stacked on top of him. A terrifying momentum erupted from Zhou-Yi's body. The school flower's eyes were extremely solemn. At this time, Zhou-Yi poured the spear of victory in his life. Xiaohua unleashes a skill to quickly dodge Zhou-Yi's attack. But Zhou-Yi had already predicted Xiaohua's prediction. Under the shocked eyes of Xiaohua, the spear of light seals off her dodge space. And Zhou-Yi had already come to Xiaohua. A hammer coaxed towards the laughing flower. Xiaohua was scared and immediately closed her eyes. But the hammer didn't hit her. Zhou Yi dispersed all the offensive and asked if Xiaohua was still fighting. But this scene made Xiaohua look at it a little. Reacting to this, she got up and shook her head slowly. Zhou Yi's battle was obviously lost by her. As he spoke, the school flower Shui Lingling took out her mobile phone, motioned to Zhou Yi to add a contact information. It will be convenient to learn in the future. Zhou Yi was stunned for a moment, but he didn't refuse. But he didn't see the school flower happy gods. Instead, he was taken to his dormitory by Mr. Su. Suwon University is also a big hand. A hill is used as a dormitory for new students. The dormitories for special enrollment are all single-family villas. But when Zhou Yi entered the door, Teacher Su asked him if he was looking for extremely cold ice face. Zhou Yi did not deny it. Teacher Su informed him there was a team that had seen extreme ice faces in the Tempest Mountains. However, at that time, there were high-level Warcraft guards, and they gave up the War of Wealth. But that was already news 6 years ago. Zhou Yi finished searching for information about the Tempest Mountains, learned that the Tempest Mountains are eternal games, a large mountain range that rises from the ground after merging with the Blue Star. The dangers are numerous. However, there is a rebirth cross rewarded by the college entrance examination system. Zhou Yi is not worried about his life, for he who is dead may be raised again. So Zhou Yi began to inquire about the paladin's skills, since he is the strongest existence of special enrollment. All skills below a level are free to learn. Zhou Yi was unceremoniously full of this. It's all free anyway. However, good equipment does require her to spend credits to buy. At the same time, Xiaohua's dormitory. She just stared at her phone. That was Zhou Yi's chat record with her. This was the first time she had taken the initiative to talk to a boy. Jiang Churen was shy and heartwarming in his heart. Suddenly, the phone vibrates. Zaiwa Jing immediately picked it up and took a look. The result was a message from her best friend. The two are video chatting. The girlfriend asked Jiang Churen if he cared about Zhou Yi so much. Jiang Churen said that Zhou Yi was special. She had used the power of a succubus in the first battle. As a result, Zhou Yi did not have a trace of sinking. So Jiang Churen decided he's going to the Tempest Mountains too. Zhou never thought he was a succubus body, was actually hugged by the paladin princess. Even the paladins imposed ambitions on him. The increase in all attributes can reach a terrifying 2%. Not so long ago, it's been a month since Monday arrived in the Tempest Mountains. Not only has he been greatly improved in this month, also accepted a smiling moon wolf as a pet. At the same time, he was not far away. An armored vehicle went on a rampage in the Tempest Mountains, running away from demons. I saw the car door officially open. A girl by profession as a mechanic drops multiple mines. A group of demons stepped on it. An instant explosion drowned them. However, there are also demons who are not harmed and rush out of the explosive punch. The summoner girl then casts her summoning magic. A slash severs the demon's arm. Above the roof of the car stepped a gunsmith girl. A Gatling shoots the demons to pieces. As for the lonely demon, several gorgeous sword lights actually lit up in the formation. It was their captain, the swordsman Su Qinglian, who made the shot. Their synergy complements each other, but it didn't take long for them to be happy. A terrifying flame suddenly struck them. The summoner girl immediately condensed the defensive array. Even then, they were instantly engulfed in flames, leaving a huge burn mark, although there is an armored vehicle to resist damage. But several of the girls were injured in a blur, but the demons were already in pursuit. They were powerless to resist the demon's attack. Just when they were desperate, the cross of evil light rose abruptly in front of them, stopped the demon's breath of fire. The next second, another cross fell behind the demon, in all directions, to be exact. This was followed by a tornado of light attributes. Devour the demons. At this time, you can still hear the mud murmuring on Zhou Yi's lips. The light gathers, and the storm comes. The cross of light came down from heaven. Give these demons a humane destruction. Then Zhou Yi patted the laughing moonwolf. He breathed a mouthful of frost. Put out those burning flames. And Zhou Yi came to the women's team. Use out the slow healing to heal their injuries. Sukungvian Tankid Zui. Zhou Yi is nothing. Ranked third in the school. The Amara squad. He still knows. Sukunglian Asked Zui. There are more and more demons. Do you want to go back to the base together? Zhou Yi thought about himself for a month. None of them found the hungry Ice Lotus. And 3 days later, he was seriously ill. So Zhou Yi didn't refuse. When Su Qinglian looked at the mechanic girl. The next second, I saw a soft congratulations from my sister. The GX mechanical spider shines with great ferocity. A giant mechanical spider appears in front of everyone, seeing Zhou Yi's eyes shining. And on the way back, Zhou Yi also learned about these demons. Suddenly appeared on a large scale in a month. It is possible that a new Atlas Rift has been created. Su Qinglian was also ready to go back and immediately informed the military region. Hearing this, Zhou Yi asked suspiciously, "The military district does not have a mage tower. Monitor the entire area." Su Qinglian said that these demons were too low-minded. The mage's tower mainly monitors the depths of the Tempest Mountains, the movements of epic legendary high-level warcraft. Zhou Yi listed it. The 20-level silver demon is really low. Su Qinglian told Zhou Yi the otherworldly aura that he carries, below the concentration desire set by the mage tower. The mage tower may not be detected. It's just that Su Qinglian doesn't understand. Why did the otherworldly rift send low-level demons to be cannon positions? After all, once the demon is discovered, will be cleared by the military district, but it can accommodate the otherworldly rift that level 30 demons pass through. It can also let demons above level 50 pass through. This wave of operations from the otherworld is not just a gift of heads. The location of the crack is also exposed, but at this moment, a dark attribute energy soared into the sky. So Zhou Yi asked Su Qinglian and them to go first. He's going to take a look. Because of this breath, Zhou Yi will not be mistaken. Look at the dense forest ahead. A team is debating whether or not to save someone. I saw not far ahead of them. A fierce battle is unfolding. Its protagonist is Xiaohua Jiangchuren. Can see Jiangchuren's state at this time. It's already very bad. But the demons continued to attack Jiangchuren. Jiangchuren was not given any respite at all. Suddenly, golden lightning fell from the sky. Bombardment on these demons. In an instant, the demons around Jiangchuren were wiped out. This scene stunned Jiangchuren until footsteps rang out behind him. It was only then that Jiangchuren came back to his senses. However, the power in Zhou Yi's hands did not weaken in the slightest. It turns out that the demon is not completely destroyed. A wild roar. The shock made Jiangchuren so bad that he could only pass by. In a matter of seconds, the demon seems to have evolved. The demon's eye ignites on his body. Then he killed Jiangchuren again. Jiangchuren recognized that this was the devil's crazy words. It can double its own strength. So he also shouted for Zhou Yi to leave quickly. And there is already a self-detonation plan to roar for Zhou Yidian. However, the next life, Jiangchuren was stopped by Zhou Yi and hugged in his arms. Escaped the attack of the madness demon. Immediately, Zhou Yi turned his head to look at him. There was a sound of prejudice in the mouth of the green crane light. Poor sky, lightning and thunder. Dense golden lightning bolts rained down on the demons. This scene stunned Sister Xiaohua again, but the demons seem endless, although it was destroyed by Zhou Yi. Another group surrounded Zhou Yi and the two. Zhou Yi glanced at it. There was no change in his expression. Immediately afterwards, he tapped his fingers on Jiangchuren's forehead. One blessing after another was immediately superimposed on Jiangchuren. Jiangchuren looked at his attribute panel. I was taken aback. A full 25% enhancement of all attributes. He didn't understand the Paladin's abomination. When did it reach this point of horror? And Zhou Yi has already jumped off the wolf, armed with a Paladin's hammer, begin to kill the demons. Seeing that Zhou Yi has already begun to act, Jiangchuren didn't forget what Zhou Yi told him just now. Keep the demons out as much as you can. So he cooperated with Zhou Yi. Unleash his skill, the Shadow Whip. I saw that the demonic chi was gathered in Jiangchuren's hands, condensed into the shape of a whip. Whip the demons around you. Inflict heavy damage on them, and inflict shadow damage. In a short time, Zhou Yijin's goal has been achieved. Most of the demons on the plains have already resisted. Monday shouted Jiangchuren. A holy light guarded Jiang Ran and shrouded him, because Monday was afraid that his next move would accidentally injure Jiangchuren. Immediately afterward, the cross of light appeared in Monday's hand. In the blink of a thousandth, the cross of light swelled and became gigantic in an instant. We'll be wrapped in it on Monday, and within the confines of the cross of light. The demons also continue to take damage from the light element. A gorgeous and shocking scene. Zhang suddenly opened his ruddy mouth. But that doesn't end there. Under the light of the holy light, all darkness will be extinguished. The light gathers, and the storm comes. You can see that the dim sky suddenly turns into daylight. One by one, the crosses of light fell again, surround all the demons. In the next second, the dragon of light connecting heaven and earth rose from the ground. The demons couldn't even struggle and be torn to shreds. This horrific scene, the team that witnessed it was already stunned. Is this something that humans can do? I'm afraid that level 26 can't do such an exaggerated destructive power. Looked at Joe. He's so young again, curious where the rooftop monster came from. And when Su Qinglian chased Joey, when yelling to help, the next second everyone becomes a question mark. It was a devastated sight. They don't seem to be needed. Everyone didn't expect that Nanhai just released a skill. It is possible to make the divine angel descend to the earth. Ben ignites new hope for the desperate. It turned out that after Zhou, he solved the demon siege. He gained a lot of experience. The level has also come to level 18. After this battle, Zhou found that he had too few advanced skills to settle the situation in one fell swoop. Prepare to go back to school and ask the teacher, what are the other channels to get S-level skills? And the Qinghuan team stepped forward. Praising Zhou Yi's strength is too far away. Suddenly, Shaoan knelt on the ground. The main thing is the weakness caused by overdrawing too much strength. Su Qinglian asked Zhou Yi, have you ever encountered a difficult demon to deal with? Zhou Yi thought about it. The golden demon who died in his hands was only level 23 at the highest. Nothing is difficult to deal with. Su Qinglian was powerless to complain. But at the same time, these words also caught his attention, because demons have peers just like human armies. A gold-level demon is not enough to serve, so it means that the demon legion is not here. People who sense that something is wrong. I am also ready to report back to the base immediately. And yet at this moment, the momentum of a shooting man descended suddenly. Zhou, he couldn't help but stop. The crowd looked up into the sky. I saw a level 24 flame flying dragon that was the first to come into view. But that's just an appetizer. The legendary son of the devil who stands on him is the source of all fear. At the same time, the military district monitoring system lit up a red alert, determined the 4th level of the first invasion. In less than a minute, all the legions were assembled. Wait for the next step instructions in the square. The logistics force is also allocating resources for the dispatch of magic crystals in the magic box. Everything is ready. The mage began to set up a large teleportation array. With an order from the corps commander, the chant officially began. I don't know what it is. It's been half a year since this son of the devil came to Blue Star. During this period, he brought no more than 10 people to his clan. Ben will return to the demon realm in half a day. Unexpectedly, due to Zhou Yi's intervention, hundreds of other people died in an instant, so he personally went out to avenge the blood hatred. Make a vow. Send these human souls to hell for eternity. This is followed by the demon child's use of summoning magic. Silver and gold demons appear in a dense group. Looked at Su Qinglian in his eyes, stepped forward and blocked in front of Zhou Yi, signaling to them that the Qinghuan team would cover him for leaving. None of the team members objected. Zhou Yi sure. They have seen the most demonic Tianjiao. It's worth guarding them. However, a teleportation array suddenly lit up. Seeing this, the Qinghuan team was overjoyed and gave up. They recognized it as the teleportation array of the Snow Dragon Legion. Those are all professionals who are above level 30 in the second turn. The commander of the regiment is a 51st rank and a 3rd turn soldier. They were saved. However, the joy was too high. The son of the devil sneered. No one could enter under his magic circle. And it is under Su Qinglian's incredulous eyes. All teleportation arrays have deviated from their original ghosts. The magicians in the Legion also recognized what stood in their way. The demon clan's large-scale, silent spell and magic array are darkly spoken. Once the interior area is expanded, the space cannot be teleported. External attacks can also be blocked. And if you want to destroy him, you have to gather the forces of at least 2 legions. But you can also wait for him to expire naturally. But it took 5 minutes. Upon learning of this, the Legion commander closed his hair. 5 minutes of time. Needless to say, the fate of the trapped is no longer too much. He asked people to count the information of everyone in the formation. Inform the family when the time comes. And Zhou Yi's system detects the appearance of the devil's son. Give Zhou Yi a task to defeat him. There are no failure penalties. Success rewards an S-rank talent, and it matters to Furin. The corners of Zhou Yi's mouth rose. Under the shocked gaze of the Qinghuan team, Zhou Yi walked past them and slowly walked towards the demon son. And Zhou Yi's body was the breath of killing demons. It is also perceived by the son of the devil. Not to mention, harness the flame dragon. Facing Zhou Yi, there was a scorching Longxi. Under Su Qinglian's exclamation, Zhou, he was not busy holding the saw hammer. Swing a slash at that dragon stream. There was only a moment's stalemate. He smashed Longxi, split the flame wyvern in two. Suddenly the dragon and the son of the devil smashed down from a high altitude. Zhou Yi took advantage of this opportunity to take refuge. The devil's son is also quick to react. A powerful chopping machine swept towards Zhou Yi, but except for the traces of destruction, there is no Zhou Yi for a long time. The next second, the light converged behind the son of the devil. Zhou Yi's golden hammer smashed into the demon's son. Although it was blocked, it takes less than 2 seconds. The son of the devil no longer responded to Zhou Yi's refusal. He couldn't figure out that this human was only level 18. How could there be a power beyond his level 30? Zhou Yi loosened his fingers. You're pretty resistant to beating. Speaking of which, you're also the first legendary monster I've encountered. And these words naturally angered the son of the devil. The two sides fought fiercely again. During this period, Zhou Yi used the pure white blade to take office. Immediately unleash another skill, Judgment of Light. But legend has it that the devil is not in deficit either. Even in generals, you can use the Fire Demon Shield. Block Zhou Yi's trial. Hit this week, he understood ordinary skills. I'm afraid there's nothing to be done about this son of the devil. So he was ready to launch the S level of the first reward of the college entrance examination. And during this time, the son of the devil called out to his men. The sword pointed at Zhou Yi and ordered him to be killed. Zhou Yi was unmoved. Intense light elements converged around him and the dragons around him. The next moment, the terrifying light power enveloped Zhou Yi's body. The demons couldn't even get close. At this time, whether it is a laughing flower, it will be ignited, or the legions on the outside. Even the demons stared blankly above their heads. I saw a giant hand covering the sky and jade appearing above the heavens. The son of the devil stood unmoved. It's not that I'm not afraid. It's because he understands the giant hand. He couldn't dodge it anyway. Next, the huge palms slapped hard at the demon child. The aftermath of the embarrassment made everyone resist at the same time. It's also an unbelievable voice. They're not living in dreams. Is this skill unleashed at level 18? The core commander was completely stunned. This power is equivalent to that of a demon cannon. After learning that Zhou Yi was the champion of Suzhou Airlines province, he couldn't help but say a word of pity. After all, the gap between the two levels is still too big. If you give Zhou Yi a little more time to grow, I'm afraid the son of the devil is not worthy of lifting his shoes. Sure enough, the son of the devil was badly wounded, but it became more violent. He ordered himself to charge. Warrior-level demons gather their strength. The mage-level demons began to cast spells. Surround Zhou Yi. Even if he saw Zhou Yi unmoved, also thinks that Zhou Yi is pretending to be calm. That skill must have run out of mana, and it is. The hand of the god depleted the magic power in Zhou Yi's body. The equipment regenerates mana too slowly. Now the only whole card, it's the S-Pole magic. You can gain some of the power of the god of light. The next second, a huge magic array appeared above the heavens. The pillar of light falls vertically, directly shattered the silence spell barrier, enveloped Zhou Yi in it, in the unknown reason of the demons. Behind Zhou Yi unfolded 3 pairs of light wings. In the pillar of light, a perfect figure can be clearly seen, hugging Zhou Yi in the ring. Even the demons seem to be captivated by him. Those falling feathers, the demons want to touch it, but they were burned to the ground. Legend has it that the demon didn't expect it to be just one of the boy's skills. Actually attracted the god General Ling Yuan's sword. Ben is infinitely arrogant, like a lost dog. Boys, on the other hand, are not only favored by God. Even Xiaohua offered hot news to thank him for saving his life. Just now, Zhou Yi launched the S-level skill Divine General Technique. The god of light descended to earth. Everyone who saw this scene was shocked. You must know that the magic is the top skill of all professionals. It's like the Legion commander has met a level 58 priest division. It only takes one move to restore the status of all clan owners to the peak, to compete with the 3 demon legions. So the son of the devil is also roaring unbelievable. It's only an 18th level human. How can it be used? But the power of God. Again, only the power of the gods can resist. Zhou Yi completed the offensive and defensive conversion with just this move. The son of the devil immediately asked his men, how long will it take to build a teleportation array to return to the demon realm? It will take another minute to learn. The son of the devil understood. He said, looking at his men, it's time to show your loyalty. The devil obeys the word. Give everything you have to the venerable demon Alamus. All the demons spoke without complaint. Immediately after that, they began to be natural. All the power began to pour into the son of the devil. He was willing to sacrifice himself in order to preserve their king. Zhou Yi looked at this scene unmoved, until the god of light muttered, "Ugly and pathetic inferior species. The holy rider is the power I have given to your gods." The next moment, the god of light pulled Zhou Yi's movements. His phantom fused with Zhou Yi. At this time, the voices of the two sides coincided with Xuanatiandi. God says there should be light. Suddenly, a terrifying beam of light burst out from Zhou Yi's fingers, shot at the demon child on the ground. Explosive power bombarded the demon child, but he was not seriously harmed, because at this time, due to the trap of his people, he was level 43 in January, albeit temporarily. But there is no doubt about the power he exudes. The son of the devil immediately launched a counterattack. A roar was sent to Zhou Yi with a backhand. Then he had 4 extra hands gather energy in front of him. In a matter of seconds, the energy ball in front of him swelled 100-fold. This is the most powerful natural skill of the demon clan. Condense the fire element to the limit. The surface temperature can reach 15 million degrees Celsius. The son of the devil did not hesitate to put this solar fireball, throw it towards Zhou Yi. However, Zhou Yi did not hide or avoid. Boom! A blazing explosion resounded high in the air. The Zhou crowd couldn't help but show worried eyes. The son of the devil panted and watched, thinking that Zhou Yi would be seriously injured if he didn't die. But the smoke clears, and scathed, Zhou Yi appeared